This is J. Krishnamurti's second public discussion in Madras, 1976.
As we were saying the other day when we met here, this is a dialogue, meaning a conversation between two friends about matters that concern them deeply. Not theories, not speculative ideas, but actually talk over their intimate, deep human problems, like two friends. So, what would you like to talk over this morning?
Could we talk about death and before death?
Sir, apart from the mechanical memory which I can store and recall or retrieve from my brain, there is also in me the memory of the million years. How did I acquire it? Where is it stored? And I can do something about it.
Would you mind repeating slowly?
Apart from the mechanical memory which I can store and retrieve from my brain, there is also in me the memories of the million years.
Memories of?
Million years.
Million years.
Million years.
Millennia.
Million years.
The memories which I have not acquired, which I feel. There's something which is always working in me. Memory of million years, influence of the centuries. Some influence is working in me, which I have not acquired or got. There's still something at the back. Now, how did I acquire it? Where is it stored? So that I can do something with those influences.
There's the mechanical memory and also the ancient memories of millennia. What is the question?
How did we acquire it?
How did we acquire the millennia? All right.
Sir, here is a question. To see the false as false, how is it at all possible without bringing in an element of comparison?
To see the false as the false and not bring in an element of comparison. How is this possible?
Number two, what is creation?
Sir, please, may I ask something? Are you asking questions about your daily life, daily problems, how to live in a society that's so corrupt? What to do in relationship with husband and wife when there are all this battle, bitterness, anxiety and fear? Aren't you concerned about all those problems? Or you're only concerned in some abstract theories like what is false, what is true, what is... So may I ask something? What is it you are concerned with, actually? Please be fairly serious. What are you concerned actually with in your daily existence? Are you concerned about the previous memories of millennia? Are you really concerned about what is false? How to discover what is false? So if one may ask, I'm asking this all in respectfully, are you really concerned to find out a new way of living, or just carry on the old pattern? So which are you concerned with?
Sir, the problem of energy, acquiring energy.
Problem of acquiring energy.
Problem of acquiring energy. You took a lot of energy to come here, haven't you? To get up early in the morning, bathe and come here. That took a lot of energy. But when you want to do something, you have plenty of energy. Right? But you don't want to do anything seriously in your daily life. That's what we are discussing. If you don't mind, let us stick to that. let us please ask questions about, what is happening in the world, how we are selling our freedom for a little temporary security, and therefore we are not worthy to have either freedom or security. Do you realize all this, what's happening in the world?
That's not quite correct, sir.
Also?
The statement, we are selling our freedom for security, is perhaps incorrect, because I never had it. From my birth, I have been having memory, and on which I act, and which is security.
So, what can we do to live properly in this life, sir? That's what I'm asking. How to live?
How to listen to another.
What?
How to listen to somebody. To listen.
Listen. We first see, do we want to bring about some fundamental change in our lives, daily lives? Or we don't want to discuss that, but rather discuss about things that really don't matter.
Sir, may I ask a question? I am in a state of sorrow. I would like to end that sorrow. But you say the mind should stop seeking, you said.
Huh?
The mind should stop seeking.
No. You want to end
sorrow. The desire to end sorrow, is it not a form of seeking?
We're going to that, sir. Is that your problem?
Yes. What should I do when I am in sorrow?
No, please, sir. Let us be serious. Do you really deeply want to find a process of ending this sorrow?
Ending sorrow, that's the...
Do you?
That's what you are concerned with.
What will you pay for it? Not in coin, not in rupees or dollars and pounds. What will you do for it?
Sir, you said the difference...
Just please, I'm asking this question. One wants to end sorrow. One wants to end fear. And all the misery and travail of life, what goes on in your own life. If we want it, if it is absolutely necessary to end these things, what do we do? What do you pay for it? Just talk about it.
Sir,
What? Give up sorrow? Give up thought. Give up thought? Have you ever tried giving up thought?
Sir, I am concerned about only one thing. That is, I am like that bee which is in search of the honey and which would wish to be that honey in order to stop forever the buzzing about.
Yes. So, please sit down, madam. You don't have to get up. Please sit down.
Sir, can I ask a question, sir? You said, sir, the difference between the observer and the observed. It is this division that breeds conflict. And since this difference is brought about by thought, conflict can end only when thought is not. Now, sir, if thought is not, I am nothing, I am a zero. I become a total zero. Now, nobody wants to be a total zero, sir. I become nothing.
The gentleman says, sir, when the observer and the observed are different, there is conflict, which is brought about by various movements of thought. And when that movement stops, I am nobody, and nobody wants to be nobody.
Yes.
What you know about the belief?
What?
What is belief? Just
What is?
believing something.
All of you say the word belief.
Believing something.
What is the value of belief? Is that it?
He wants to know what is believing, what is belief.
I believe in God. I believe that my wife is good. I believe what? That my country is the best country. I believe in my guru. I believe in dozen things, but do you believe the sun rises? That the stars shine? So just look at it, sir. So what is the question?
How the belief comes when there is desire?
How does belief arise? Is that what you're really concerned in your daily life? Are you really concerned why you believe in God? Wait, sir, just listen. Why you believe in God, if you believe in God? You know, the word God, the moment you mention that word, you think you're very religious. Well, that's one of the phoniest things that's going in this country and abroad. So I'm asking you, with what are you concerned actually? You understand? Like this gentleman says, I'm really concerned to end sorrow. Are you really concerned with ending fear? Huh? Both biological fears and psychological fears. Do you want to end psychological fears? No, go into it, sir. It would be very interesting if you really were honest to oneself and find out if you really want to end fear. And then we can discuss sorrow and all the related problems. But do you really seriously, with your heart, in your deep down, want to be free of fear?
Yes, sir.
Right, sir? Do you? What an extraordinary thing.
Sir, on realizing through self,
What is the self?
You see, what is the self? I am asking you a question, so you're not even listening. Forgive me for pointing out. But don't you want to get rid of fear? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you had cancer, I hope you haven't got it. If one had cancer, you'd go to a doctor, wouldn't you? You'd be involved in it, the pain, the anxiety, the fear. Follow? You'd be tremendously involved in it. You don't want to talk about nirvana or this or that and the belief and all that. You say, please, for God's sake, help me. Go to a doctor, if you're a good surgeon, and all the rest of it. Are you so deeply concerned with the freedom from fear? Or is just casual, say, please, help me to be a little bit of fear out? You follow my question, sir?
Our children, present generation, our younger children, worried about exactly, we're not able to bring them up traditionally because we know they don't fit into it. Neither are we able to give them full freedom because we're worried about our present society here. Actually, in what way can we help them? What should be the attitude towards them?
That is, we are not able to bring up children the traditional way.
What to do? We can discuss, wait a minute, I've discussed this question about children, parents, endlessly in schools, but at Rishi Valley, in the various schools in England, India, Ohio and so on, California. So please, do listen to what I'm talking, not children for the moment, but do you really want to go into the problem of fear and absolutely be free of it?
We go into that. And realizing truly what is essential and non-essential.
What's that?
On realizing truly what is essential and non-essential. And there is a conflict between me and the surroundings. So I want to know what is.
Sir, please, I'm asking you a question. You go on with your particular question, sir. Aren't you afraid, sir?
I'm not afraid.
Huh?
I'm not afraid.
Aren't you afraid of losing a job?
No, sir.
You're so secure in your job.
So there is no security in this particular way of living.
No, sir, we do answer simple. Isn't one frightened? Aren't you frightened of your husband, wife? Aren't you frightened of losing a job? Aren't you frightened of death? Aren't you frightened that your children might lose?
No, sir. I'm not afraid of death, not losing a job.
Then you have no fears.
I'm not afraid.
You must be the most extraordinary person. No, sir, don't laugh. I don't think one has penetrated deeply into that question. Most people in the world, sir, 99.9 people, are really frightened.
That I would notice in the surroundings. Right.
So, if you want to go into this question of fear, do you want to discuss it? Do you want to go into it? Huh? Do you understand, sir? When a person has fear, he can't love. He can't be kind. Huh? He can't be generous. He's a shrunken human being, psychologically. You understand? So how it is really very, very important to understand it, go beyond it, right? Do you see the importance of it? Can we go into that real one question right to the end of it? Shall we?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Yes. Right, sir. Now please, stick to the to the very end of it. Don't bring in politics or your grandmother or something like that. But let's stick to this.
So the biggest fear is the fear of being nothing.
We're going to go into all that, sir. The gentleman says the biggest fear one has is to be nothing. Right? We'll begin with that. Are you anything now?
And the past.
Don't say that, sir. Just don't invent words. Just look at yourself. You say, I'm afraid of being nothing. Are you anything now? Actually, except a job you have probably, business, money, sex, pleasure, something or other you have. If you denied all that, if you say no, all that is, I put away, would you be afraid? So please, one is never frightened of being nothing. One is frightened of the image that one might be nothing. You understand? The picture, the idea of being and not being. The being is living as you are. The pain, the sorrow, anxiety, and so on. And you say, well, that's better than not being anything. So you are frightened of losing what you have. So let's begin. So when we talk about fear, we are not talking theoretically. You are afraid. First, see what you are afraid of. What are you frightened, actually? Possessions, losing the possessions, being not successful, frightened of the dark, not in this life, not understanding what is truth, what is bliss, what is this and what is that. What are you actually frightened of? Actually, in life, every day. Would you kindly tell me?
Future. Frightened of future. Tomorrow.
Frightened of tomorrow. Tomorrow being what might happen and what might not happen, both, and also what you would like to happen. Right, sir? So you are frightened of tomorrow. Are you frightened of it physically or psychologically?
Psychologically.
Inward. You understand, sir? Huh?
Yes, sir.
So you are frightened of tomorrow inwardly. So what does that mean? I'm frightened what might happen tomorrow. Right, sir? Right? What is tomorrow psychologically? There is a tomorrow according to the sunset, sunrise, your engagements for tomorrow, what you have to do tomorrow, the case, and so on. But inwardly, psychologically, what do you mean by tomorrow? You understand my question, sir? I think this is a legitimate question. When we say I'm frightened of tomorrow, you're not frightened physically, are you? Are you, sir?
Physically also.
Oh, sir?
Physically also. Because psychological fears we are not so much bothered.
Oh, you're frightened of what might happen to you physically. That means you are frightened of not having physical security.
Yes.
Not of accidents, not of disease, not of other things, but physically you are frightened that you might lose your security, physical security tomorrow. Right?
Yes.
Right? Most of us are afraid of that. Can we go into that? Huh? That is, I have a job now. I'm fairly safe. Right? Today I'm fairly safe. Otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. So, but you say I'm frightened, tomorrow I may lose my job, my house, my everything. So, frightened physiologically, not having a roof over one's head, not having food, not having shelter. Are you really frightened of that? Or is it an idea? Are you really frightened of not having food, clothes and shelter for tomorrow?
That is not that I am having, all those three.
You
Food, clothing and shelter, there is nothing to worry about that.
Sir, could I say this in regard to your last question as to whether we are frightened about tomorrow, about losing the job? May I put it this way, sir?
Put it anyway.
That we are really not frightened about it most of the time, and if I could speak for myself, I do certainly have concern about the future. Concern about something. Maybe concern about it. I work towards staving off that thing which will come and which I don't want to come. But when it does descend on me, I don't think there is fear. One probably submits, generally speaking, to what has happened. So in one sense, there is in that fear which is all the time keeping company with us. Which is concerned about the future. We try to stave off some danger that is going to come, and when it does come, I bow my head and suffer it.
Yes, sir. So you are frightened of the future in the sense, what might happen to yourself, to the country, to the children in future, right? That is, you are concerned with the whole political, economic, social state, what is happening in the world.
Yes.
Right? Frightened of the future, what might happen.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And we want to be secure, certain what should happen, or what might happen. Right, sir? We are frightened of the future in the long term, not immediately, right? What might happen to the world, to the human beings as they exist now, right, sir? Yes?
I beg your pardon, sir. I wouldn't say that fear would come into that.
No, that's what I'm saying. In that there's no fear.
Yeah.
There's a concern,
Concern.
which is different from fear. Do please, sir, don't laugh. I'm not a lawyer, sir, please. I'm not trying to beat him down. I'm asking. Concern is a different thing from fear, isn't it?
I think so, sir, subject to correction.
I'm concerned what is happening in the world. Freedom is going. Economic conditions are becoming more and more difficult. Overpopulation. Wars. I'm concerned. That's different from being really frightened.
Frightened. What is not frightened about?
Frightened. So we are dealing with fear, not with concern. You understand, sir? I'm not being clever, please. So we are concerned with fear. Are you frightened of tomorrow, what might happen to you, to your family, to your sons, to your neighbor? Frightened. You understand fear? You know what fear is? Huh? Do you know what fear is? No, don't say yes, but I'm going to ask this is a very good question. Please listen to it. Do you actually know what fear is? Or do you imagine what fear is?
Fear is the idea.
No, that's what I want to distinguish between the idea of fear and actual fear. You understand my question? Right, sir? The idea being, I might die, that's an idea, but I am actually living. You follow? I don't know why you laugh.
Sir, you are actually feeling, sir.
No, sir, please just listen. When we say I'm afraid, is that an actual fact?
Yes, sir.
Or you have an idea of fear, and of that you're frightened. You understand my question?
I'm not able to face this.
Sir, 1 second, sir. May I say something?
Oh, sir.
Sir, actually we are listening to you. There is no fear at this moment. But after a few minutes there is a fear.
So I'm asking you, can't you evoke your fears? You're sitting there, actually you're not afraid now. You can say, well, look at it and say, well, I am afraid of something. Can't you bring it into the present and look at it? Huh? Now, is that fear an idea or an actuality? No, do please find out, learn to. So, look, please, I'm not your teacher, but we must learn how to investigate. You understand? Otherwise, we get lost. So, we are learning from each other how to investigate. I want to investigate into my fear. And I say, is it an idea I'm afraid of, or is it an actuality?
So fear is some experience that I am feeling.
Yes, sir, which means...
It's not an idea, it's a feeling, actual feeling. I am having fear.
That's an actuality.
That the experience that if...
Not experience.
That fear is there.
Sir, look, sir, do be simple. We'll work, it'll become very complex little later. Let's start with being very simple. That is, am I afraid actually, as I'm afraid of the snake in front of me, which is an actuality. It's not an idea. The cobra is there. And I'm frightened of it. That's one thing. Or I have an idea that what fear is, and I'm afraid of that idea. Just look at it. That is, I've had fear, I've had toothache, and it has caused a great deal of pain. I remember it. I go to the dentist, takes it, whatever he does, cures it, but that pain is a memory. And I'm afraid that pain might return. So it is not an actuality. It might return. You see the difference, sir? The actuality is pain. That pain is gone. The memory of that pain remains. That memory evokes fear that it might happen again tomorrow, in a week's time, which is not actual. You've got it?
I'm sorry, I do not see this.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I do not see this.
I want to differentiate what is actual and what is ideation. Put it any way you like.
Sitting here and evoking fear is memory.
Is an idea.
Is memory.
That's what I want to do. That's what I'm coming to.
But even if you cannot evoke fear, I can evoke the psychological, neurological dimensions of fear sitting here.
So, Mrs. Zalka says, if you evoke fear, it is an idea, it's a memory, it's not actuality. I'm going to go.
Sir, I think this distinction you are drawing, because you cannot evoke fear, but everyone knows what fear is.
That's all I want to get at. That's all I want to get at. Please listen to what Mrs. Zalka says. You cannot evoke a fear. That would be an idea, a memory. But everyone knows what fear is. Do you know it? That's all my question. Or are you evoking fear? You follow the difference, sir? No? Oh. I can evoke, I can say, yes, I remember I was frightened when somebody called me something or other, when somebody stole my wife, or did something. I can remember the fear of it. But that remembrance is still memory. It's a past event. It's not actual. Right? Actual is what is happening now, which is you all know what fear is. Then knowing is the actuality, not the evoking of it. Oh, come on. Have you understood? The evoking, the calling into memory, the remembrance of a fear is one thing, and knowing fear. Of course, we all know fear, right, sir? So we're going to not evoke fear, but knowing what fear is. We all know that. From childhood to death, we all know what fear is. So we're going to investigate together, not me, together in a dialogue between two friends, what fear is and whether it is possible to go beyond it. Right? That's all we are our concern now. Concern. Right. We all know fear. What is that fear? Is it not being or not becoming? Not being good, not being wise, not having lie to oneself, not being successful, making money, and so on, so on. That is becoming, being. The other is becoming, right? I am not, I will, right? You understand? So, is that one of our fears? Not being, not becoming. I want to become a good lawyer. And I study, but I haven't got the flair for it. So, you understand the division between the two? That is to being and becoming. Or is there only becoming? You can never say, can you? I'm just asking. You can never say, can you? I am. You can always say, I'm becoming. According to a Jewish tradition, I was told, only God can say I am, and nobody else. According to Jewish tradition, please. So, let's talk about becoming. I want to become. I want to pass my exams. I'm frightened I might not. I want to become a chief minister. I cannot. Or some follow. Becoming is our whole movement, right? Right? Have you is that right? May I go on with it?
The chief essence of becoming is continuity.
Sir, he's not here.
Just a minute. Sir, Mr. Jaffa is saying something. She hasn't said it. That's it, I'm coming to that.
The desire to continue.
And
the fear of ending.
Go slow. You're dealing with
I was just saying, is not fear, the fear of losing some of the contents of my consciousness or not failing to add to my consciousness.
Sir, that's what she's saying exactly. Would you kindly listen to what Mrs. Jayapal said in Chiefs? We all want to become, which is a continuous process, isn't it? A break in that continuous process is what causes fear. You understand? Huh? You understand, sir? I want to become what? I don't know.
Continue to be what I want, what I am now.
No. What if you haven't you a feeling that you want to be something? And if that continuity breaks, then fear is. You understand? That's simple enough. I want to learn piano because I'm but if I fall ill and I can't learn it for 2 years, I'm frightened. So we have learned one thing, learning, that is anything that has a continuity and that continuity is broken, there must be fear.
So that is not fear, sir. That is frustration.
I'm frustrated, which means I can't get what I want. And if I can't get what I want, what happens? You don't call it frustration. I'm frightened, I'm lost. And then I act in a frustrated way. So look, be simple about this. We all want to continue, don't we? With things as they are, with my family, with my house, with my job, with continuous. If there is a change in life,
I don't want a jolt. Yes, that's a natural instinct.
Yeah, you don't want a jolt, you don't want a shock, which is a break. A break in the movement of continuity. Right? Don't stick to my word or your words. Huh? I want to reach nirvana, whatever that may mean. We'll take that as an idea. And according to tradition, I mustn't see a woman, right? Etc., etc., etc. It's all very well traditionally laid down. And if I'm attracted to a woman, I'm frightened that I shan't get it. That's all. My God, must have put it so blatantly before you understand. So, where there is a continuity and a break in it, there must be fear, which is death. I want to live 1,000 years, if it is possible, but unfortunately there is death calling me. So I get frightened. That's clear. So is that what you are frightened of? Look at it, sir, not me. Look at it in yourself. If you are frightened of that, I'm going to go into various forms of fear. That is, I want to reach heaven, I want to be happy, and I'm striving towards that, which is continuous pull, attraction, drive, desire, and all that. And when there is a break in it, which is I might be attracted or caught in money pattern, wanting money, and I get frightened. Look, I started out with that, and I've gone off in that, and I get frightened. Are you aware of this, sir? Are you aware, each one of us, that there is this form of fear? Right? Would you acknowledge that?
Obviously, sir. Obviously, I am aware.
Huh? You say that there is that kind of fear in you. Yes. Right, one. That's one kind of fear. Then there is, what kind of fear is there? Fear of your wife or your husband?
Fear of inadequacy, sir.
Huh?
Fear of inadequacy, of energy.
So I'm asking you something, and I'm asking you, we have understood one form of fear, that is continuous and break. Then are you afraid of other things? Afraid of your wife or your husband? Might lose her, she might get angry, or you might be brutal, and so she's huh? In your relationships, aren't you frightened?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
I'm afraid of others.
Yes.
Yes, all right. God, how difficult to pin you down about anything. So you are frightened of that, you are frightened of something happening in your relationship. Then what are the forms of fear? Fear of losing a job, of not getting promotion, not climbing the ladder, and so on. There is that fear, right? That is biological, sociological, economic fears. Then what are the fears? Go on, sir.
Fear of loss.
What?
Fear of national loss. Loss of reputation.
Fear of national loss.
Loss of reputation.
Loss of that.
Sir, may I say something to you? Sir, this peripheral fear has no meaning at all to discuss today. But what about the fear of otherness that we are like?
I'm coming to that. Aren't you afraid of your... You don't face step by step, you want to jump to that. You're afraid of break in continuity. You're afraid in your relationship. You're... What?
Is it a break in continuity, sir?
What?
Break in continuity.
Yes.
Is it break, is it an expected break or actual break?
you're afraid you might get ill. Is that what he's saying?
He says, is it expected break or actual break that you are afraid of?
Both.
Both.
So please, I don't want to go back to what we have learned, what we are learning, which is a break in continuity, idea on actual. Then there is fear in relationship. There is fear in economic, social, environmental pressures, lack of job and so on, so on, so on. That's a form of fear. Then what are the forms of fear have you?
Recurrence of unhappy event.
Huh?
Recurrence of unhappy event. Recurrence of unhappy event. Recurrence of an unhappy event.
Recurrence of an unhappy event.
What is it? I want to be happy. That's my longing, continuous desire. And something might happen, therefore I'm frightened. This is the same pattern. So what else are you afraid of?
Fear of old age.
Huh?
Old age. Old age.
Fear of old age.
Fear of loneliness.
I'm coming, that's right, sir. Fear of old age, fear of loneliness, therefore attachment, therefore obedience, therefore running away into escapes which become real and losing that and turning you back to loneliness. So there are all these forms of fear. I can give you lots more which we haven't touched at all. There are deep, unconscious fears you're not aware of. You follow? The racial fears, the inherited family fears. Heredity in the sense I might go blind or have leprosy or syphilis or other because my great-grandfather had it. Deep down inside, I'm not conscious of it, but it is there. There are all these forms of fears, multiple forms of fears. Right? Right, sir? Huh? Can we go on? Are you aware at least some of them? Right. What do you mean by being aware? The actual or the idea of being aware of some fear? Look, I mean by awareness, I want to reach nirvana. I'm just saying, I want to become the Prime Minister. Much better. And there are other people also competing for that position. And I'm afraid they're much more clever than me. So I'm frightened. Right? Is that, you may not want to become Prime Minister, you might want to become something else. Are you aware of the actual fact that you want to become something? Want to become enlightened, understand truth, You are aware of the actual. That's right. Shall we go on with it? We are dealing with the actual fact, not the theory about fear. I am frightened that I might not reach heaven, moksha, nirvana, whatever you call it, and I don't want anything to happen to that desire. And invariably something happens. I see a beautiful house and I want it, and I follow, and so on and so on. Now I am aware of it. First of all, what do you mean aware of it? I'm not quibbling, sir. You understand? What do you mean I am aware of it?
Being only things.
Huh?
Being only things.
Huh? Are you with it? Or you think you should be with it and therefore you will be aware of it?
I imagine what it would be like if I don't have it and I am frightened about it. So.
That's it. Therefore you are really not actually aware, as you are aware of a toothache. That's an actuality. So are you aware of your fear, whatever it is, family, nirvana, or heaven, moksha, whatever it is, and economic pressures, and being frightened of what your father, mother, relations, etc., etc. Are you actually aware of it? So if you are actually aware of it, then what is the relationship? Please listen. Between that fear and you. You understand me? You understand, sir? Huh? You understand? That is, sir, I am afraid of my wife losing her. I'm taking that. Is that fear different from me? Huh?
Now it is.
So you say that fear is not me. Why do you say that? You understand my question? I am angry. And then I say, I am different from anger. So there is a division between me and anger. And I'm saying, how has this division arisen? I'm asking, how has this division arisen?
Because I don't like that feeling.
No, watch it carefully before you answer. I am angry. I have been angry, or I've been frightened. And I say, fear is different from me. Huh? We all say that, don't we? Is that your conditioning? That you are different from fear. That's part of our conditioning.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's conditioning. Not maybe. You can't have maybe in this matter. Either it is or it is not. Or you say, I am asking you, if that conditioning says you are different, you are the Atman, you are the higher self, you are etc., you must. So, is that I'm asking, is that part of your tradition, part of your education, religious education, that says, I am different from that, from fear? I'm going to go into it. Go slowly, go slowly. When you say I'm not that, I'm not fear, then you can do something about fear. You can suppress it, control it, act upon it, run away from it, right? Is that one of the reasons that this division has arisen? Because you think you can do something about it. But if you knew what to do about the actual fear, would you then say, I am different from that? No, you haven't understood. Go slowly, please. Jesus. Look, sir. One of the reasons of this division is my tradition, right? And so, that's one of my conditioning. My conditioning says, do something about it. Run away from it, suppress it, get it analyzed, go to a psychologist, do anything. Right? Right? And I'm asking, if you could do something about fear, you understand? Then you separated yourself. But if you realize you are that fear, what can you do? You haven't understood. Let me explain. I have been brought up through education, etc., religion, economic conditions and so on, that I am different from fear. That's my condition, which says you can do something about fear. Analyze, suppress, run away, act upon it. Right? That's clear. Would that activity take place if you could do something, if you could deal with the fact now? I wonder if you understand what I'm saying. I say I'm making you more complicated. No. Are you all lost? Look, sir, let me put it that way. We all want to do something against fear, against death. We want to do something about fear, about death, about my struggle. We all want to act. And our action is always born out of confusion. Right? Right? So, whatever we do will be confused. We don't see the truth of that. Whatever I do out of confusion will be confused. Right? Are you clear on this? Yes. Of course, in the childish. So, my question is not what is right action when I am confused. My question then is it possible to be free of confusion? When I am free, there is right action. Right? You see, if I can clear up confusion, I will do the right thing. Naturally, I don't have to say what is the right thing to do. You understand, sir? So one is trained, educated, part of our tradition is to act out of confusion and then increase more confusion, right? That's our process of living. Somebody comes along and says, that's too silly, clear up your confusion. Don't act, but clear up, which is a tremendous action in itself. Do you understand? Clear? So, my question then is it possible to clear confusion? Because I don't know how to clear up that confusion, I act out of confusion. Right? If I knew how to clear up the confusion, it's simple. Then from that freedom from confusion, there is action. So my question then is it possible to be free from confusion? So I say, what is confusion? Confusion is contradiction. Wanting this, not wanting that. Opposing desires. Comparison. I compare myself with you, and therefore I create more confusion. I never understand why the comparison exists, because part of my education. In the ordinary education, you are compared with your first boy, who is the most clever. So the poor chap who is compared with, you're destroying him. That's part of our education. So comparison is one of the reasons of our confusion. Contradictory desires, opposing demands, seeking pleasure, frighten, the whole gamut of. So if I can clear that up, I will never talk about right action. Right action will flow inevitably. So my job then is to clear up that confusion. In the same way, if I am educated to deal with fear, run away, suppress, and whatever I do out of fear is still fear, right? As confusion, whatever I do out of fear will still breed fear. So my first demand is it possible to be free of fear? Not what to do. You follow? Now, is it possible? Now that's your question. After all this, I'm asking, is it possible to be free of fear? Huh? Yes, I have explained all that, sir. Not changing, you can't. That fear is involved in that relationship, right? As long as you are acting from fear, whatever you do will still be fear in that relationship. So the first thing is to clear up fear.
Unless we transform the relationship, we also cannot be clear up.
No.
Because this fear condition on the one hand and our relationship on the other hand, they always go together.
Yes, sir, they go together. So whatever you do,
one thing has to be clear, the other thing must be simultaneously clear.
so you and I are married, right? Thank God we are not. Suppose you and I are married, and you do something out of fear of me. You've already broken that relationship, haven't you? No, sir, please, just look at it, sir. In your marriage, in your relationship with another, if there is fear, whatever you do will be born out of fear, out of confusion. However much you may want to establish a good relationship with another, with your wife, husband, you will inevitably destroy it because you are afraid. So the first demand is that you clear up fear. What? No, not in, see, you haven't even understood, sir. Whatever you do out of fear, in whatever relationship it is, will still be fearful. I might want to love my wife, but if I'm frightened of her, I can't do it. That's all. So, first thing, to clear up my fear, your fear. Is it possible? Or must we live with fear? Which you have done, right? So I'm asking, is it possible to clear it? How to? What is the process of clearing? Not method, not system. Tell me how to clear it. That's all nonsense. So, what will you pay, not in coins, in action, or in your urgency, to clear up that? Are you serious? You're serious. What do you mean by that?
I want to put my entire thing to understand and be free of it.
You mean you will put all your energy, please listen sir, all your energy to clear up that. Because that's the most important thing. Right? Not your money, not your job, not your belief, not your ambition. This is most important.
If you cut away all those
No, I didn't cut away. I didn't cut away.
it increases fear.
If this is, no, if you are concerned with the total freedom from fear, that is the most important thing. Right, sir?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Certainly right.
Sir, all of you make money, don't you? Money to you is very important, right? And you give all your energy to that, don't you? Most of 90% of your energy for that. Right?
Yes.
Give 90% of that energy to fear. I'll show you. But will you give your energy? I say, well, please, I've got to, you follow, play with it. That's what you're all doing. I want to be free of fear. Because without that, whatever I do brings more fear. Without that, there is no love. Without that, there is no beauty. In your life, there is no beauty. In your life, there is no love. Right? Because of this thing. If there is no fear, then you'll have the heavens open to you. So I'm asking, will you give all your energy to understand this one basic principle in life, which is fear?
Sir, if you watch fear.
No, I'm asking, not if I watch. I'm first asking. So when you go to a cinema, say, give me $2 or a rupee or whatever you do. You don't say, let me talk about it. You give it if you want to go in there. Are you willing to give your energy to this? That's your... You understand, sir?
Then will we not see the importance of it, giving my entire
That's it. You don't see the importance. Why? Because partly laziness, partly fear of losing fear. What might happen? Correct. You understand philosophy, you don't know what might happen. Right? You might throw up their own circus.
So whatever pointed out is there, sir.
I'm asking you, will you give your energy to this? 90% of your energy? Say, look, I've got to understand this, the most important thing in my life. If I don't understand this and go beyond it, whatever I do will be miserable. Do you see the tremendous importance of it?
Why don't you see that, sir?
Huh?
Why are we not
Why?
able to see
Because, first of all, you may not want to. You say, I've spent so much money, sex, battling with words, ideas and country, you follow? Which is more important in your life? Actual life, to be free of this, or going back to your job?
Both.
You can't have both.
I know.
That's why you all play games with me. You want both, one foot in the grave and one foot in nirvana. And there's a long distance, I show you, between the two.
Even to see the importance of it, what will make me see the importance of it?
Nothing.
So I must
You don't listen. You're carrying on with yourself. You don't listen for a man who is talking very, very seriously and says, please listen. See how extraordinarily important this is in your life. So, isn't it extraordinarily important in your life to earn a lot of money? No?
It's important, sir.
No. Don't you spend 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and you are not even willing to give an hour to this? If you give 10 minutes or half an hour with real attention to this, then I'll show you. But you are not. So I'm going to tell you, whether you like it or not. I'll give you, because it's your own life, sir. You understand? You've got a very short life, 50 years or 60 years or 80 years. Don't waste it. For God's sake, don't waste it. I see this most important thing in life. Not one of the most important. Money, sex. This is the most important. Because without that, I see clearly, as I see the tree, you standing there, sitting there. Without that, there is no love. Without love, you become a savage. So, I'm going to go into that. I'm going to give all my energy to find out whether it's possible to be free of it. Now, please, first I'm going to go into very, very slowly, go into it. If I have a motive to be free of it, the motive becomes the distortion. Right? Do you see that? If I have a motive, if I am free from fear, then I'll have a marvelous life. That's a motive. So, what have I done? I really don't want to give up fear, but the result of fear, what it might give me, that is, as long as I have a motive in giving up fear, that motive is going to dictate my action, my investigation. Right, sir? Naturally.
What is wrong in that motive?
Do see the truth of it, sir, not what is wrong with it.
I want to be free of fear, that is a motive.
You want? No.
It's an urge.
No. It is not you want to be free of fear. You want to investigate fear. Right? Not I want to be free of fear. Who cares whether you're free of fear or not? Nobody cares, I'm sure. You don't care either. But we are investigating, right? Which means your mind is becoming alive, not just dead, saying I want. So, to investigate, please listen, sir, to investigate into fear, there must be no motive. Any motive brings about distortion in investigation. That's obvious.
No motive, which
No, leave it motive. I don't want to make it more complex. I don't want to make it more complex. I just say, as long as I have a motive in getting rid of fear, that motive is going to dictate my investigation. Therefore, that my motive is going to distort my investigation. That's clear, isn't it? Huh? Right? So, have I a motive? If we are investigating, not how to be free of fear. If in the process of investigation, the thing ends. You understand, sir? In the process of investigation, see what happens. But if you start with a motive, you have already prevented investigation. Obviously, sir. If I'm a scientist, and I come to the laboratory and want to discover what is matter, and look through microscope, atom, and I say, the whole thing, I want to become the biggest man in the world, well-known, famous. I'm distorting the investigation, right, sir? If I'm a government scientist, I'm already cooked, right? So, there might
exist without a motive.
Huh?
Do I exist without a motive?
Motive. Do you?
Am I there without a motive?
I'm saying, have you a motive in your investigation into fear? Is fear yours or it's universal fear? Huh? Every man, sir, woman in the world is frightened. Not just you, every human being. You are part of that human being. You are part of that human being, therefore you are the world and the world is you. In investigation, you are investigating the human fear, which is part of you. You understand? So if there is motive, you don't know, then investigation stops. So that's the first thing. Motive being conclusion, hope, idea. What? Reward. The reward, if I can get rid of freedom, fear, what a lovely reward I'll have. You understand, sir? So, put aside all motive. You can only put aside when you see the fact that where there is investigation, motives pervert investigation. If you see that, finished, because you are concerned with fear. Right, sir? So, I'm investigating now. I have no motive. I really mean it. I have no motive. I don't want to be free of fear. I see what... So I say, now, what is this fear?
To see motive itself as a source of fear.
Yes, so motive itself is one of the fear. So I put away motive. I don't play with it. It's gone. Then what else is there? What am I afraid of? What is the human mind and heart afraid of? What's that? What are human minds, which is part of you? When we are investigating the human mind, human heart, which is you also. So what is the cause of this fear? Now just a minute. Are you analyzing or observing? You understand, sir? Are you analyzing or the investigation itself shows? You see the difference? When you are analyzing, what is implied in that? The analyzer and the analyzed. The analyzer is the past experience analyzing the present, which is fear. He says now, unless you are capable of complete analysis, which is impossible, therefore then each analysis distorts. I wonder if you see that. Oh my God, if you see that, you will never analyze. Therefore, you'll only observe. So, I go on because I have to stop. So, you are observing, not analyzing. The microscope you are looking through, the thing that you are watching is going to tell you. You are not going to tell it. See the difference? The microscope, what you see on the plate, that is showing its movement, its activity, its history, its the whole thing. But if you come to the microscope and say it must be that, then you have already blocked it. So you are observing, not analyzing. Right, sir? See the importance of this. So, in observing what is being said, what is the picture telling you? Not you are telling the picture. You follow? What is it telling you? Go on, say, you are investigating with me. I am not investigating. I don't investigate. I see it, feel it. With me it's quite different, but it doesn't matter. So, what is the picture telling you? Under the microscope, without motive, you are watching. It says, as long as you have time, think in time, you're going to be frightened. Right? Right, sir? That is, as long as you have psychological time, there's going to be fear. Right? You understand that? As long as you have a sense of continuity, you'll have fear. The microscope is revealing these things. I am not telling you. The truth is what comes out of the fact, what is. I wonder if you see that. In observing what is, the truth is coming out. But if I observe it with my prejudice, with my demands, with my motives, with my wishes, nothing comes out of it. I am dictating my terms. You see the difference? Right, sir? Huh? Can I go ahead? You look puzzled, sir. Huh?
I don't see this point.
Are you telling what you observe, what it should be? Under the microscope, sir. If you are telling what you see, what it should be, you're not seeing actually. So can you look without telling it? Which means observe without any distortion. Which is observe your fear without any distortion. He says, as long as you have time, think in terms of time, there's fear, right?
Even to do this, I must be free of time, sir.
You're sitting there, aren't you doing it now? You have plenty of time now. You've spent nearly an hour and a half. Don't say you have no time, sir. Right? That's an excuse. Say, I must have time. You create time if you want it. That means leisure, right? Right? Leisure means a period in which you learn. That's the real meaning of that word. The root meaning of that word and so on is a school where you learn. Therefore, that means you must have leisure in which to learn. Here you are, got leisure, sitting here, in which to learn. So, I must go on, right, sir? That under the microscope, the story of fear is being revealed. I am not telling what it is, but it is revealing itself. It is, as long as you have, as you think in terms of time, there is fear. He says, these are facts, you can do what you like. As long as you say, as long as there is psychological tomorrow, you are going to be afraid. Right, sir? As long as thought, which is time, as long as there is measurement, which is time, more or less, there will be fear. And that's all it says. You can do what you like. But that is what it says. It doesn't say, oh, tell me how to do it. You're asking them. But the thing says this. And if you listen to it, you listen to it. But if you say, well, no, I'm not interested, but the fact is that. Take it or leave it. And if you want to live in fear, live in fear. The fact is ruthless, you understand? Right, sir? It doesn't care. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're looking under the microscope, and through the microscope, the picture of fear is shown. The picture says, time is your fear. Desire is your fear, which is part of time. And thought is your fear. The image that you have about yourself is fear. It says that. And either you listen to that or you don't listen to it, right? It doesn't care. You understand, sir? It has told you the truth.
It cannot tell the truth, sir.
What?
Because fear is mental, and you can observe only through the mind. So it is already distorted and conditioned. If you observe fear, which is possible only through the mind, it cannot be actual fear. It is only conditioned.
Sir, you have to listen. Forgive me for pointing it out. We have been through all that. The picture says to you, thought, desire, time, measure is the cause of fear. Is fear. What will you do with it? A wise man says, quite right. Right? And said, I'll find out. I'll investigate now what is time in myself. It is not going to tell you. That means it wants you to be active, alive, not a mere repeating machine. Right? And you're unwilling to be alive. That's all, sir. If you see the truth of it, it's finished. But if you say, no, sorry, I must have time in order to get more money, which is what you all want. I must have time in order to establish good relationship between me and my wife. Time. Time is the most dangerous thing in relationship. Right? Right, sir? Because time involves from here to there, doesn't it? Anything might happen in between. Right? Other incidents, other attractions, other crises. So if you allow time in relationship, you understand? There is no relationship.
This implies that I must obligate all that I know so far.
It's up to you, sir. Go, work. Didn't you work to get money? You put all your brain, all your senses, all your cunning, all to get money. It says, do the same here. Instead of stupid money, do it here. But you say, sorry, money is more attractive. Go to it.
Could you please elaborate a little about the measure? Picture disclosing measure as one of the parts.
Measure means comparison. I compare myself with a saint and I try to become that stupid saint. Right? All saints are neurotic anyhow. Right? You don't want to face all these facts. So, right, sir? It's time, sir. I know I've got my watch. I've finished. Please just listen. I've looked under the microscope, and the microscope reveals these things. Reveals that as long as you are measuring, comparing yourself with somebody, then there's going to be fear. As long as there is a time interval, to heal your wounds, there's going to be fear. As long as you have an interval of action between seeing and action, there's going to be fear. If you see, act instantly. That means no time. Seeing being without no what the microscope has revealed. And it says no. Thought is time. Thought is measure. Not how to end thought. It's not interested. He said thought is time. It's for you to work it out. That gives you energy, creativeness. You follow? Right, sir?